claws, webs, speed, and even venomous fangs. Despite carrying the name Spider-Man, Miguel O'Hara is very different from the others we know. Whether through his physical attributes or even his intelligence, everything about him seems superior to his fellow Spider-Men, and that's what we'll explore in today's video. Origin. Miguel O'Hara is a geneticist from Universe 928 who worked for a long time at one of the largest corporations in his world, Alchemax. While on the job, he was pressured to test a process designed to modify human DNA. However, the experiment conducted by the company failed, turning a volunteer into a monster who ultimately died during the process. Outraged, Miguel attempted to resign, but his boss, and secretly his father, Tyler Stone, deceived him, addicting him to a drug produced solely by Alchemax, making him dependent on the company. To free himself from the addiction, Miguel used the same genetic process that had turned the test subject into a monster, inserting his own original DNA as a base. The experiment was sabotaged by his supervisor to ensure it failed, but instead of dying, Miguel survived with his DNA fused to that of a spider. This granted him a host of powers, and inspired by the original Spider-Man, he became Spider-Man 2099, breaking free from his addiction and Alchemax's control. Facts. Although Miguel O'Hara appears massive in the Miles Morales movie, in the comics, he stands at 1.78 meters tall and weighs 77 kilograms. Uncommon features include red eyes, fangs, and retractable claws on his fingers and toes. But before we dive into his powers and complete physiology, don't forget to smash that like button below. It helps the channel reach more Spider-Man fans, and together, we can climb to the very top of YouTube. I'm counting on you. Physiology. Miguel O'Hara has so many powers and physical changes compared to Spider-Man that it's hard to know where to start. Let's take it step by step, beginning with his physical abilities. He can easily lift several tons and leap over houses in a single bound. One of his most notable feats of strength was his fight against Thor 2099, where the thunder god of this universe, known for throwing people through walls with ease, was held back by Miguel. Interestingly, Miguel O'Hara managed to lift this universe's Mjolnir, proving himself worthy not as a warrior, but as a leader, one of the greatest of his time. Another show of strength is his ability to defeat multiple robots said to be powerful enough to restrain Spider-Man, showcasing 2099's superiority in raw power. His durability is also extraordinary, often allowing him to recover mid-attack from blows while still standing, even after falling from buildings or smashing through walls. It helps that he possesses accelerated healing, not on the level of Hulk or Wolverine, but enough to recover from cuts, gunshots, and punches relatively quickly. Thanks to this, he also ages at a much slower rate, as his body's regenerative tissues and cells keep him youthful far longer than normal humans. But when it comes to attributes, nothing surpasses his speed. The character is almost a speedster compared to other Spider-Men. And I'm not exaggerating, not even the superior Spider-Man managed to land his blows. He can easily dodge arrows, easily dodge bullets, and is so fast that he can leave behind a residual image for enemies to attack. He is so fast that only his image remains in the place while he's already somewhere else, which leaves villains very confused. It's also worth mentioning that his musculature generates fewer fatigue toxins during physical activity than a normal human's musculature, so it takes much longer for him to get tired. His reflexes combined with his speed make him almost untouchable. But it's worth noting that he doesn't have a spider sense like most Spider-Men in the multiverse. But that doesn't mean he's easier to catch by surprise. In fact, it's just as hard as the others because of his other powers. Miguel's sense of touch is extremely acute and much more sensitive compared to normal humans. in addition to hearing sounds from much greater distances than anyone. He can magnify his vision dozens of times and see kilometers away with sharp clarity, even underwater. He also has night vision, seeing in complete darkness with total clarity, even being able to see the electromagnetic spectrum and energy waves. Combining all these factors into a single character, it might actually be easier for his enemies if he just had the spider sense. However, he still has powers that other Spider-Men couldn't even dream of, one of them being his telepathy. Miguel O'Hara has shown the ability to communicate with others on a telepathic level, and many believe this to be a manifestation of the spider sense in a very different form. His telepathy's limitations and strength have never been deeply explored, but it counts as yet another insane power he possesses. Another feature that sets him apart is that he can't stick to walls like the others, instead using his claws to stay attached. These claws are as sharp as a sword, and combined with his strength, are deadlier than most bladed weapons. A good example of this was when he cut off the arm of Venom 2099 and used his claws to break a sword before striking him. As seen in the movie, and as I've mentioned before, in addition to claws, he also has fangs that secrete a paralyzing venom, strong enough to immobilize giants and disorient Atlanteans. Lastly, it's worth mentioning his webs, which are completely organic, another major distinction for this hero. Both of his forearms contain a set of spinnerets that release a strong, sticky substance that closely resembles a web. The fact that his webbing is organic doesn't make it any less durable than Peter Parker's. Both can easily restrain people, are stronger than concrete walls, and can support cars and objects weighing several tons. But O'Hara has the advantage of not needing to produce his webbing externally. His body does it naturally for him. Combining his enhanced vision and heightened senses, the precision of his web shots is insanely high, allowing him to disarm enemies with ease. Skills. In addition to his spider-derived powers, Miguel has unique abilities that are worth mentioning. He is a top-level genius in the Marvel Universe, especially in genetics, though he also knows a thing or two about engineering. In fact, Maestro once manipulated him into fixing Dr. Doom's time machine in his future so that Maestro could travel back to the heroic age. Additionally, he is an exceptional hacker, having breached the computers of Dr. Doom, Iron Man, and Mr. Fantastic when he traveled to the past. And despite not having much formal training, he is an excellent hand-to-hand combatant, employing a freestyle fighting technique that allows him to fully utilize his strength, speed, and agility. Equipment. The main piece of equipment for Spider-Man 2099 is definitely his suit, made of unstable molecules, a super-resistant material that is almost impossible to tear. This allows Miguel's claws to extend without worrying about his gloves falling apart if that happens. The suit has been upgraded to combine with Kevlar material, making it even more durable, to the point where Elektra couldn't even hurt him with her attacks. It can withstand bullets and survive colossal falls without worrying about damage, and even Superior Octopus couldn't scratch it when they fought. The suit also features an air blade on the back, emitting anti-gravitational particles, allowing Miguel to glide through air currents. Additionally, it has iconic arm blades that serve both as offensive and defensive tools, especially for protecting against sharp objects. After all, the suit cannot be cut, but Miguel is far from invulnerable and still needs to protect himself. When he ended up in the main universe, Peter was a millionaire and gave Miguel O'Hara a new suit with additional functions. This suit also had boot thrusters, thermal vision, an enhanced gliding system for flight, a communication device that scans the internet, spider discs with explosives, and camouflage. Another piece of equipment used by the hero, which appeared frequently in the animated series, is Lila, Miguel's personal holographic assistant. She can call him from different timelines, search for information throughout time up to the year 2099, reproduce everything she has seen, either in motion or in frozen frames, wake Miguel when he is unconscious, and so on. She's a real game changer, and so advanced and useful that she could even be considered superior to Iron Man's Jarvis. Weaknesses. Even with one of the most advanced suits in the entire hero community and a range of powers that puts Peter to shame, Miguel also has some weaknesses. Due to his accelerated vision and ability to see in the dark, he is extremely sensitive to light, often needing to wear sunglasses to live normally. His fangs also make it difficult for him to speak, as, unlike his claws, he cannot retract his teeth. His claws are also a bit of a nuisance since he needs concentration to keep them within the tips of his fingers. And remember all the advantages I mentioned about his organic webs? Well, he also has two disadvantages with them. Because they are released from his forearms, if they are held too tightly, Miguel might not be able to release them during combat. There have also been occasions where psychological stress caused him to fail to produce his webs, much like Tobey's Spider-Man, which wouldn't happen if he had synthetic webs and web shooters.